Folks, how are we? I hope you like my new Just Chatting screen. It's in progress, don't stress too much, but I'm trying a few new things out here, seeing how we go. So, another low-key, low-stress stream. You might be wondering why. Two main reasons. One, I'm almost finished with Art of Rally. I have like half a season left to go, and I'm kind of curious what they give you for finishing and if you get some like Uber car or something. And the other one is the fact that I'm still trying to stress test the new PC, and this is a really cool low-key way of doing it without having the full sim rig here and having to stress about all that kind of stuff. Also, I'm streaming off my major 5950X CPU this time, trying to use some of those 16 cores to their utmost. I'm curious if I get a more stable stream out of that, so, you know, thank you for joining me. Hopefully you guys are as amused by this little fun dirt arcade game as I am. Trick is it gonna work? Hey guys, Martin, Krampus, Jerry, I did see James' video on Motec for ACC, yeah, so he went over the stuff that many of us already know, like how to install it, how to actually get the profile up and everything, but I'm really curious about his tips on setting up the rake as well as checking out the suspension histogram as well. So I've never actually used it to adjust the bump stops and the rake, so there's a lot of stuff there for me to pick up, because bump stops are one of those things I really struggle to adjust in ACC, because I have no barometer, I have no way of knowing what's correct. Jack, I agree, low stress streams are the best streams, especially if you're me and doing the stream. So far, so good. No major issues. So one of the things I noticed on our last stream was every time there was an overlay, every time we got a new... Ooh, my resolution's off. So every time we got a new subscriber, every time we got a new, some kind of notification, it lagged out and basically slideshowed for some reason. I'm not sure why it did that. Okay. I'm also not sure why the game is showing us the incorrect resolution here. That's somewhat frustrating. What's that about? Wouldn't be a stream without some technical error that doesn't make any sense. Okay, full screen off. Let's try that. Okay, cool. That was the ticket. It wants me to drive in a window for some reason. Cool. So be it. Can I full screen it? Yeah, okay. Alright. Apparently this is gonna work. Motec. Motec is a race-grade race engineering software to look at the telemetry coming out of a sim and basically making adjustments based on that telemetry. It's one of the best empirical ways to actually make adjustments to the car and take the, I guess, the driver and the personal element out of the equation. You just kind of get a perfect tune by looking at the numbers rather than feeling things out. So it's very, very useful, and the fact that ACC incorporates it is very, very cool. Alright, so this is actually the last, very, very last campaign or season in Art of Rally. I haven't actually driven it in a while, but I left it about half completed because it kind of pissed me off a little bit, if I'm honest. The handling in this game sometimes is arcade in ways that are very frustrating, just like that. So, oh my god, it's something you really have to adjust to. Has like all the worst elements of AC's nebulous car trouble. But because it's rolled into an arcade title, we can give it a pass. One of the cool things about this is it's got a fictional version of the Subaru S4 World Rally car, which is what you're watching me drive right now. The rally version of my road car. So it normally takes me a little while to warm up to this. God, it's like you really have to get into its ecosystem of how it thinks a car behaves. It's quite different to real life. But it's very relaxing. I think once you get into the groove, you get into this kind of a flow state where you just kind of play the game for hours and hours and hours. You don't realize the time has passed, especially with this amazing soundtrack. Speaking of which, I'm going to turn it up. That's better. You can actually hear when I need to shift now. Newbie mistakes. I believe I've got this jacked up to the hardest difficulty in the game. Just, you know, par for the course on this channel. I like to torture myself. So we're not going to do particularly well with my spin out at the start. We'll try and build from there. Cars have this very interesting tendency to pendulum in this title. Kind of hard to stabilize. But everything's really nice and purple, so I mean, how can I argue with that? As a moth comes in and ambushes my monitor. What a dick. Oh man. So the way it does elevation is very interesting too, because you're looking at the car from above. It's very hard to tell when you're going to climb and when you're going to drop. So it's almost a matter of memorizing the tracks and their like undulations, because you're not really able to see them. I do like that they've emulated not only the rally experience, but the rally fan experience. They'll sometimes mob you while you're driving. That true Group B effect. Playing GTA with all the spectators. Man, I wish. Imagine doing a massive drift here and just like Carmageddoning everyone. And we're done, and we're not going to do too well. I bounced off the rev limiter a bit too much, I'd say. Stage results 5th. Yeah, not my best work, but we'll work on it from there. Play R Factor 2. I will, as soon as they fix the tires. I'm waiting with bated breath. That isn't sarcasm, by the way. I really am. I can't wait to go back to it. Where's everyone checking in from tonight? I know that the Art of Rally streams tend to be some of our less popular ones, if you will. I think it hasn't quite found its crowd yet, but where are you guys checking in from and what time is it in your part of the world? I'm always curious. Oh, it's more like, I don't know if I'm trying to become faster at Art of Rally. I'm trying to kind of get back to pace on Art of Rally because I used to be okay at it, but now I'm kind of falling out of sync with the controller. So you're probably going to watch about 2 to 3 stages while I'm kind of getting back into the rhythm of things. Okay, a few Aussies, that kind of makes sense. Nemesis, how you doing, man? Yeah, honestly, nah, it looks a little bit better than R Factor 2. I feel like the color grading is a little more vibrant, so... Also, the sound effects are about on par. Actually, the way that you drive is pretty similar, because you kind of have to drift every corner, so... A lot of Aussies around this time, cool. Alright, so evening time means Aussies. Good to know. I guess because it's a Sunday, I'm expecting all the Europeans to wake up super late. Most are going to miss the stream, which just kind of makes sense. I've also managed to... I know this isn't novel for you guys, but it's very exciting for me. I've managed to basically integrate a few things onto the one screen, so I no longer have to jump around to see where you guys are with the chat, to see who's done a donation, to see who's joined, so it's kind of cool. How am I still first? Not for long. Alright, 1996, Rally Japan. Those are two very cool things to come together. One of my favorite times in history and one of my favorite places. Now we're in Norway. Sweet. Alright, here we go. More volume is best volume. You guys probably noticed that this is one of the few games in all of, well, quote-unquote, sim racing that cranks up the music to be louder than the sound effects of the car. Which is awesome, because the soundtrack is great, but I struggle to know when to shift. No. No, come on. So this game basically has two states. Either you have full grip, or you exceed the slip angle and the car loses all semblance of traction. So it's a very unique way of driving that you have to adopt. Ain't no R Factor 2 time model here, that's for sure. See? It goes from all grip to no grip the moment you exceed that slip angle. And now you get mad grip because the slip angle isn't that great, and now it's like, maybe. And now it's gone. The moment you go 90 degrees, it's all over. This is the way that you get back into it, guys. You save a career mode halfway through when you're in the hardest class of cars in the final championship on the highest difficulty level, and you just kind of dump yourself back into it on a stream. It's no better way to learn. One of the cool things about Art of Rally is that it's so demanding with your attention at all times that you literally cannot read stream chat at the same time. It's just not possible. In some ways it's harder to drive than Dirt Rally 2. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. Here we go. Oh yeah, do tell me if my camera drops out. I'll look over and see it. Oh, there we go. Stage is over. That's gonna go very poorly for me. What? How was that first? How was that? So you can see that there's a bit of a inconsistency in the difficulty level of this title. On some stages you can full on spin out and just ruin the car and you're still first. On others you kind of do the lap or the race or the stage of your life and you come in and it's like you're 8th. Wait, what? How was I 25 seconds ahead? How does that make any sense? Richie, yeah, Beam and G streams. I think they are in my future for sure. Silverback, how you doing? 10:10 in Sweden, good to know. Alright, so this is probably the earliest I can start a stream. It's like 8 PM Australian time, Australian Eastern time. That way I still catch some of you guys at the start of your day, maybe before work. Or because it's a Sunday, before whatever you're gonna do. Go out to the sauna in Sweden, I guess. Hit the lake. Jack, favorite Group B car? For me it's gotta be the Audi Quattro, I'm quite boring. My housemate loves the Lancia, the Delta S4, of course, because it's just manic, but to me it's always been a little bit too squirrely and insane. I like the Quattro. I think the Quattro, it was so revolutionary for rally as a whole with the four-wheel drive drivetrain. No, Travis, no getting faster on ACC tonight. I'm a little bit pooped from the last 2 nights. I've had some weird sleep lately, so I don't think I could put myself through Snetterton one more time. Ah, good to hear, Silverback. Spicy, how you doing? Great TB. What content am I planning in the near future? I would say, I don't know how much I should reveal. Don't expect too much full-on hardcore sim racing content. Expect a lot more easygoing and fun, I think, for the next couple of months. I want to go back to the reason that I started the channel, which is just to have fun and enjoy my love of racing games and physics and stuff and share that with you guys, and less sweaty, shaving the last 10th kind of stuff. That'll be my ACC practice streams as I try and get into like the 215s at Spa. I can't believe how close I got. I'm a half a second off a 215 at Spa. I didn't even think that was possible. For me, anyway. I'm sure it's possible for people that have skill. But for me, not so much. So R-Factor 2, last I heard, they're working on the tire model, but they said that it's not going to come out anytime soon. It's going to take weeks, if not months, which is awesome. That's great. That's like the best possible news. If it needs that much work, give it that much work. Get back on top. Get that physics model fixed up and make sure that R-Factor is known as the king of physics again. I feel like we need it, you know? We need another contender against ACC. ACC has kind of done the clean sweep. Oh wait, I didn't realize that this had started already. Alright, here we go. Cool. Thanks, Art of Rally. What's my view of Art of Rally? Was it from an... Oh, man. You literally can't look for a millisecond. From an audio engineering standpoint, I think it's very passable. The sounds are very synthesized, of course. But I mean, this kind of approximates a Boxer engine, you know? It's no worse than R-Factor, certainly. You know, it's not going to be blowing anyone's mind or anything. But the music is amazing. The soundtrack is really good. My props to the composer. As you guys can tell, I've been using a lot of the tracks on some of my recent videos. I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan of the synthwave kind of thing. Aren't we all, though, technically? It's like... You know, there are 3 things you can be assured of when it comes to sim racing content creators. 1, they've got depression. 2, they like synthwave. And 3, they've probably been a musician or an audio engineer at some point in their lives. Alright? See how far that checks out. Put it up against all your favorite content creators and see how much that checks out. I do like these little touches. It would be nice to, you know, accidentally... Oh my god. accidentally clip one of those people, caricatures, and just see them fly. You know, there doesn't have to be blood or anything. I'm just saying, like, it'd be really cool to have some physics there and just get some physics going on. Watch them hit a tree, bounce off, that kind of stuff. You know, GTA life. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into the idea that, you know, rally really isn't about top speed. When it comes to tracks like Spa and Silverstone and stuff, you're just trying to maximize your turns, but rally is completely different. Rally is a ballet with the car. Rally is just weight transfer. It's having this dance with the automobile. It has very little to do with how much you're putting the throttle down or how fast you're traveling. It's about how effectively you're able to manage the weight of the car through the course. And how many people you manage to go through on the turn. Hey, why am I a psychopath? Hey, I'm first. That's awesome. I feel like the AI is giving me a freebie here. What? Animal accidents? How come Alan Boyston there gets to have an animal accident? Like, where are my animal accidents? Where are my animals, period? I'm guessing it's reindeer, because it's Norway, and it's like the dead of winter. Can I recommend some electronic artists? Man, that's rough. I mean, I usually listen to remixes and stuff like that. Obviously, from back in the day, you've got The Prodigy, was some of my favorites from when I was a kid. Very recently, my guys in Northlane are basically going electro. They're doing some amazing electro-industrial crossovers, so check out Northlane 100%, especially the latest 5G EP and the new single that we just did, Clockwork. That just came out as the official song of, let me see if I remember this, the Rainbow Six Siege Oceanic Esports Tournament. Whatever that means. I guess they're going to play it during the tournament. Maxi, I'm doing good. How are you? Ooh, I feel like the stream is dropping in and out as the CPU is loading stages. There you go. This might not be the way to go after all. Thought so. Is Pliny doing anything soon? I can neither confirm nor deny such things. Sorry. I will say it's going to be a pretty good year for music though. As far as my knowledge extends anyway. See, that's the cool thing about these chill streams. I can have these little occurrences where during a loading screen my stream drops out and it's not the end of the world. I haven't let the team down. I haven't destroyed a 24-hour race. I haven't ended up on the final straight and taken out the leader of the cup cars on the Nordschleife. You know, there's a lot less consequence for me having errors crop up. So thank you, Art Rally. Hey, surface change, tarmac. This is where you really have to be brave this week and make or break the entire race. So I feel like the tarmac grip on a snowy stage is almost better than tarmac the rest of the time. I don't really understand what that's about. But I do know that this game really likes grip driving rather than sliding. It's far more responsive to you managing the slip angle, which is kind of strange for a rally game, I've got to say. And the end. Really short stage. Oh man, clean sweep here. I'm killing it. I've had a lot of screen freezes in my time Troll Turismo, so it doesn't haunt me as much as you might think. What's wrong with thick men playing video games, right? Thick guys need love too. Hash all body shapes matter or something. Whatever new self-indulgent tagline is out and about in the world today. Love me for who I am. Something like that. Don't judge me for my fat Balkan head. Alright, we're back to snow. This is a very different experience. Feels like slow motion racing. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I think I actually prefer the feel of snow in this title to the feel of gravel. Last time Fun Select were really nice to drop by the stream, so if you're watching this again, thank you for this really cool game. And thank you for this really, really cool soundtrack. This has been so immensely useful to me as a content creator. You're always trying to find music you can use. Thank you. I'm glad somebody loves my fat Balkan head. It's not often that happens. It was quite lopsided though at first, because I am, believe it or not, I'm quite lanky and skinny in my natural state, so I was this really awkward looking stick figure guy with a massive head for most of my life. Until I finally said, hey, maybe weights will help sort some of this out, and then kind of brought my body back into balance with itself. The only problem with that is you have to keep training. You can't just do it once and have it hold. Wow, I'm getting really short stages. Thank you, Art of Rally. Respect. Oscar, how you doing? I'm liking the tenor of these comments, guys. Keep it going. Hey, we're first again. Awesome. See, it doesn't take all that long to spool things up. Also, I'm trying the stream at the highest ever bitrate and audio bitrate as well as visual bitrate I've ever done. So let me know how that goes. Let me know if it's looking okay. You know, especially those of you who are able to watch on a TV that's 1440p or a monitor that's 1440p. I'm trying a bit of a high def thing here. I'm hoping that YouTube don't penalize me for it. Whoop. Here we go, apparently. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that, man. It's very hard to grow a sim racing channel, believe it or not. Niche content guy says doing niche content is hard. Who'd have seen that coming? But yeah, there's going to be a bit of an expansion of the channel over the coming few weeks. I've got a few other things on the agenda. I've got to do a few audio-related videos for my other channel first, unfortunately, guys. So, you know, I've got to actually pretend I'm an audio professional again for a while, that I don't just stream video games for a living. But after I do that, I'm going to come back with a vengeance, and we're going to do some more slightly different content. I'm very excited. I think it's time to broaden our horizons a bit from just plain old sim racing. I'm curious to do that. It's one of the reasons I've kept the channel name just my name. Always wanted to have it open-ended, what we could do. I don't like the idea of being locked into one thing. Which is why you've probably noticed we're no longer the strictly R-Factor 2 worship channel. As much as I do still love R-Factor 2. Actually, I should have done a drive-through. I should have done a GT3 tune on the Nürburgring. As a bit of a node to the Sabine thing. Absolute tragedy there. She got so many of us into that track due to that one Top Gear segment. It's such a sad thing to hear about. To those who don't know what I'm talking about, Sabine Schmitz, one of the queen of the Nürburgring, basically, the woman that got so many of us into the track, passed away the other day from a long battle with cancer, unfortunately. So many of us have been quite morose about that over the last few days, and I haven't really wanted to do any streams or videos about it because I feel like it'd be in bad taste. We just had Murray Walker pass away as well, so it's been a horrible time for motorsport. Magilla Gorilla, thank you. Hey, the overlay works. Oh my lord. Come on, that totally wasn't my fault. I don't think that's how a car handles when it crashes. Anyways. There you go. Donate to see a crash, guys. That's how it goes. My car does not feel very well. Go figure. Head first into tree while airborne. Not so good. Can we go flat auto? That's not going to be the best time of my life. How was that first? What is going on with this AI, guys? They just can't handle snow. I swear, this is master difficulty. This is as hard as it gets in this title. That's awesome to hear, Jack. Murray just seems like one of those guys where his genuine personality came through in what he did. It's very, very hard to fake that kind of energy and that kind of persona. Believe me, I've tried. Nah, Jamie. See, the tree's meant to move out of the way as I fly through. They just, those Norwegian trees have no courtesy. Yes, I only stream on YouTube. And no, I don't play iRacing. Yeah, I don't know how to follow that on, really. I don't feel like paying half my savings to play online in a title that isn't necessarily the most realistic. Are we done? Is that it? Okay, so apparently we've got two more rallies before the end of this game is completed. Sergeant Wombat, always back with a vengeance. Now I get to check, actually, is the stream gonna lag? Is it gonna come through okay? Is our little rotatey sonic ring gonna do its business? Come on, Streamlabs, let's go. Do your thing. Thanks for the 10, mate, really appreciate it. You're really entrenching that record you've got up there. Magilla's trying to like sneak in craftily. Hey, alright, so that worked. Hey, sponsor logo works too. This is the way it needs to go, guys. If only every stream could be this effortless. Maybe I need to become one of those Minecraft guys, or one of those dudes who just goes to sleep and you can watch me sleep and you guys chat for like 20 hours or something. I saw that on Twitch, by the way, before. It really blew my mind. There was a girl actually just streaming herself sleeping, and there were like 10,000 people watching and chatting. I didn't... You know, as much as I do this stuff, I don't understand streaming culture. Like, I don't... Like, how do I get to a point where people are gonna watch me sleep and then just chat for like 8 hours? Does that happen? I mean, you at least want to watch me try and wrangle a WRX around a really, really wet Sardinia, right? Oh man, honestly, it's a split second. I look away for a split second and I'm gone. That's what I love about Rally. It requires all of your attention all the time. I was like, hey, maybe the camera's frozen. I'll look over. No, the end. Game over. I'm guessing all those chat updates are you guys telling me about all the crafty ways in which I can monetize going to sleep, and you know, I appreciate you for that. Also, I really, really, really want to get a 215 at Spa. Like, I'm really hungry for that now, ever since I got into the mid-216s. But it's gonna have to be like a perfect lap. It's gonna be like a 4-hour stream of me just doing Spa hot laps and not speaking to anyone. And potentially taking like a boatload of beta blockers come on, we can do it. Come on. Yeah, knock the sign over. That's the McRae spirit. First, are you serious? Guys, they're making it too easy for me. They're not ready for us true rally thoroughbreds. Oh god, guys, this is so much easier. So I've got the chat, I've got my overlay, I've got like all the stuff that's going on all on the one screen. Amazing. Amazing. So much easier. My life is so much better now. Yeah, AI on rally games usually isn't the best stuff in the world. Thoughts on streaming on Twitch? Well, I've actually been looking at a lot of videos by Alpha Gaming for this. I'm trying to work out whether it's worthwhile. I had Indiana, so if you guys haven't seen me on the Nitro Nights segment, I was actually on Nitro Nights on Overtake. I was hosted by Indiana, the League of Legends caster, and the entire time in between scenes, she's like, you need to get on Twitch, you have a really cool looking stream room. And I'm like, I don't know anything about any of this. I just put a bright lamp behind me and like pointed a camera at my face, and now you're telling me to go to a platform I know nothing about. So my knowledge of Twitch is so minuscule. All I know is that apparently 99% of Twitch streamers have less than 15 concurrent viewers, which ironically is probably what I have going on right now with Art of Rally, but that really surprised me. Like, that's a really low figure for YouTube. Like plebs like me will occasionally get to like 200, maybe 300 on a really good stream, and that's guys that just don't stream, that aren't good at streaming. Whereas on Twitch, that's just like, it puts you into like 0.1 percentile. Crazy. So it's a very hard platform to grow on, apparently. Yes, Jerry, R-Factor's got the groundwork to be the best sim. I think from a physics standpoint, I definitely agree. If they just flesh out the things that it needs, God, I would like guys like me, I'm sure there's many of you out there, we don't care that it doesn't look that great. We don't care that not all the tracks don't have PBR shaders or the cars sound like vacuum cleaners. It takes me a quarter of a lap to forget about all of that in R-Factor, because all I feel is the granularity between me and the road and that connection, and I'm done, I'm good. Like, that's the next 6 hours of my life, is just lapping that track again and again and again. I just need R-Factor to get to a point where the fastest possible laps aren't done by drifting every high-speed corner, you know? Once we get past that, once the esports things make sense, once people like me can feel content that, hey, I'm working towards a lap time that's ultimately going to give me a better driving skill set for real life, rather than develop something tangential, that's when R-Factor is going to make sense again. I really hope they do it. My stream is like a rotary engine. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it as a compliment, because rotary engines are awesome and unreliable. See, the sad thing is, like, if the stream grows any more than this, I won't be able to keep up with the chat. I'm already struggling to read all the comments and have this conversation with you guys. Ryan, you got Beneath 2 on Silverstone. That's awesome. I mean, that's the first big breakpoint in Silverstone. Once you get Beneath 2, everything else gradually falls into place. You start to learn about coming into maggots and begots by only lifting and like cutting that curb as much as possible, hammering the brake while turning and like dropping a gear. Silverstone can be insane. It's definitely an open wheeler track. GT3s on it are like, they're on the borderline of what you should be doing at Silverstone. Okay. Magilla, $20 for under 215.5? No chance. No chance. If that's the kind of time I'm aiming for, I need a 3-figure amount for that. I'm not saying it has to come from one person, but man, 215.5, that is well beyond my ken, I think. What's the saying again? Whatever. I'm too tired to get it right. By the way, Luke, if you're watching the stream and you want to watch Drive to Survive, just let me know in the chat. And yeah, I'll stall the stream and we can watch Drive to Survive. I've been kind of waiting to watch the new season with my housemate, guys. So excited. I want to see how the COVID thing went down. I saw a bit of the first episode, and it's funny, the whole COVID thing kicked in right as they were about to start the Melbourne Grand Prix here. That's so crazy. Also, two things. One thing I managed to do, if you guys can notice, I managed to combine our tippers up at the top. So no longer are the PayPal guys and the YouTube guys two separate categories. It's all one and the same, which is super awesome, makes the stream a lot more neater. That's allowed me to put a top tipper category as well as a last tipper category. Now, I think it's going to be unlikely that anyone's going to unseat our local legend, Sergeant Wombat. I know Armatus gave him a good run for his money that one night, I think like late last year. But Sergeant Wombats are well out in the lead these days. The second part is the announcement that we set channel memberships live the other day on the channel. So if that's something that interests you, if you like the perks that come from membership, look into it. It's the join button right next to subscribe. If not, no love lost. You guys are always welcome to my streams and content. The more the merrier. It's just a good way to support the channel if you so wish. See, it's happening now, guys. I'm finally starting to internalize the driving style of Art of Rally. I can have this crazy long boring monologue with you while I try and rally drive. Wow, soccer pitch. That is sick. That's how you know you're in Sardinia. Looks like a cool place. It's like, it almost looks like Australia with the flora, because I guess it's at that break point. It's almost in the southern hemisphere, or maybe it is in the southern hemisphere. I don't even know. That's my knowledge of geography, guys. Yes, we did have a multi-class tipping leaderboard. It was very irritating. 215 unrealistic. I don't know, I mean, look, it's very difficult for me, certainly. Like, to get into the mid 216s was just like the peak of what I'm capable of. But I did notice that as I was tweaking the setup of the McLaren, it got easier and easier and easier. The less and less downforce I had on the rear, slowing me down on those long straights. So maybe if I find a fine balance of mechanical grip and aero, I might be able to get into the 215s. 215.5, no chance though. Guys, it's so much easier having everything on the one screen. So good. So good. Glad I'm at least keeping myself amused. Yeah, Maxi, I don't necessarily want to do the baby oil streams. Some of the bodybuilders I used to follow kind of did that stuff. It goes in a very weird direction. Don't need that in my life. Got my audio business keeping me afloat. Yeah, Todd, I get what you mean. It's a different kind of vibe when you go to smaller YouTubers rather than larger ones. You can see that the comments matter. I mean, it's way more easy to interact with people when it's manageable like this. I would imagine, I don't know how many people are watching this right now. I'll make sure specifically not to give myself the figure. But usually the Art of Rally ones are way, way smaller than the regular streams, and that makes these kind of streams a lot more manageable for me, which is why it's a really good way to stress test any potential tech issues, because I don't have to worry so much. But yes, things do definitely matter a lot more. You can see that Jardier is kind of on that tipping point, is on the limit, and he's mentioned this a few times. He's mentioned that there are certain breakpoints of the amount of active viewers that make it way easier to interact with the chat, whereas past a certain point you kind of just have to do your own thing, and I mean, ultimately you're only acknowledging the people that end up tipping, right? Which is kind of, it's not great, but I can see why you end up in a position where that's all you can manage with the time that you have. But until we get there, which I assume will be never, I'll be happy trying to acknowledge as many of the chat comments as I can, as many as it makes sense. To that end, I don't actively try to ignore anyone, by the way. If I ever miss your message, it's legitimately because I missed it, or I had no answer, or I was midway through a drift. Yeah, usually those are the reasons. It's starting to feel better now. Starting to feel more relaxed. I need to have like a pre-stream before the stream where I can just kind of chill out, maybe like sink a beer or two, get some tequila down. But yeah, so theoretically speaking, because I'm streaming off my CPU, this should be a high quality stream. Not sure if that's coming through for anyone. It's like streaming out at the highest possible bitrate that YouTube will allow. Audio is like well above their highest allowable bitrate, but they haven't penalized me for it, so I'm just going to keep pushing it while I still can. So you're literally getting audio that's higher quality than what Spotify streams at if you're not a member. So, you know, enjoy that stuff. This is the audio file stream. Yeah, man, I'm glad you guys brought up R-Factor 2. I think about it all the time. I just can't wait. I can't wait for them to finally release that update and be like, here it is, guys. We've done it, you know? We've sorted out the tire issues you've been moaning about for the last 4 years, and it's here. It's here. Like, your tire pressures now matter. The tire wear makes sense. You can use things other than soft compounds, and it makes sense. That's going to be so good. And obviously, you know, the slip angle is going to make sense on the GT3s and the GTEs. It's also going to be extra special because they're canning the GTE class in real life. So R-Factor is going to be one of our last encapsulations, our last remembrances of that class. And GTE is my favorite racing class, other than Group B. Actually, I do want to ask you guys while you're here, because you're talking about Jimmer. Somebody came into the Discord saying that he had a bit of a... They called it a breakdown on stream. Jimmy called it a wobble. Does anybody know what actually happened? Is he okay? Like, does... You know, what actually took place? I haven't been able to get an answer out of anyone. Martin, how you doing? Alex, yeah, I think they're removing GTE from IMSA. Maxi, see ya. Sad to hear you've got to go. How good is this music? It's like a synthwave dream. Oh, it's understandable that Jimmy'd be stressed, I guess. By the way, if I look really washed out and pale in this stream, it's because I have a 55-inch OLED TV projecting a ton of light onto me, washing out my skin. It's kind of freaky looking at myself in the chat, but like when it goes off, the entire hue changes. I wonder if I can do that. Or I can quickly turn the TV off without... No, I think the stream would die. Yeah, so Jimmy, I mean, he definitely copped a spurt of growth. What did he get, like 300k this year? I think I started watching his channel when he was around the 100k mark, so I'm a late bloomer to his channel. Or maybe he was beneath 100k, I don't know. But it feels like once he hit 300k, it just started snowballing from there. Or it was actually, I looked back through his past because I was curious how quickly he grew to kind of use his channel as a barometer for mine. It took him about... I believe it was like 3 years to get to 10,000 or 30,000. It was one of those two breakpoints. But once he hit 30,000, he just started blowing up. And the ironic thing is, for me, that hasn't started happening. Once I hit 30,000, I started slowing down because the content got kind of harder to break through. I think that esports explosion in the mainstream kind of slowed down a little bit, you know, once the world went back to real motorsport. So I started having to think a little bit more laterally about the content. And unfortunately, the stuff that does better these days is the clickbaity stuff. And I don't really want to become a clickbait channel. I prefer to give people like good entertainment and, you know, some valuable knowledge. I don't like just being like Can you believe this new physics update in insert sim here? They ruined, but the problem is that like when you zero in on that sort of stuff, people have a negativity bias and they'll tend to click those thumbnails. Just is what it is, sadly. Ryan, I'm not aware of Ola liking synthwave, but that's awesome. I've never spoken to him about it. I know he likes Swedish death metal, as I do. Alright, here we go. I gotta finish this. I gotta finally clock this game so I can get to it and watch Drive to Survive for the rest of tonight. Is that something that people stream? Or would I get I'd get utterly sued by like Netflix and F1 and everyone, wouldn't I? If I did like a reaction stream to Drive to Survive? That just wouldn't even be legal, would it? Damn those people. Trying to stop us content creators capitalizing on their creations. How ethical of them. Yeah, it's all about the weight transfer. It takes me a couple of stages to get used to rally again. It's very different to track driving. It's less about hitting the markers and, you know, doing textbook perfect inputs and more about just doing this ballet with the car, doing the weight transfer, you know? Just managing the car. Whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Like that, I just averted a potential disaster there. Trying to do a bit of Carmageddon. You're probably noticing that Sardinia is one of my favorite rallies. He says as he goes off track like a moron. Come on, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Yes! 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 That's the slow, showy way of rallying, guys. Hey, Bog, how you doing? Let me know if my stream lags out. Usually it's on loading screens for the next stage. Oh my god, I'm second! What? 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 Oh man, 5/10 off. Not cool. Check out my new Just Chat screen. It's sick. Not really. I gotta really work on it. But this is like a temporary one. So you get the chat on the side. You get everything going on. You get the aqua. It's kind of cool, right? And see the washing out white color from the monitor has gone off. I told you guys, it's not a lack of tan. It's just too many point sources of light trying to kill me. Info about the new time model for rFactor 2. So if you keep apprised of their roadmap, their official roadmap, they talk about it. So they recently did a GT3 balance of performance update, which included a new aero model, which stops you from being able to drift at high speed quite so much. Oh, we're gonna move that sponsor logo. There you go. Where are we? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? How do we move that? Oh, there we go. Problem solved. Sweet. Do I play any sport? No, not anymore. I used to play tennis and squash. Now I just play the sport of gym. The sport of barbell and fake racing. Well, I spoke to Marcel about putting RTX in, ray trace reflections in rFactor 2, and he seemed really open to the idea. He liked the idea of using it in specific use cases like reflections and stuff like that. So I wouldn't count it out. If they're able to actually work it into the engine, I'm sure they will. I do like how open he is to, you know, the potential of just doing things different ways. Alright. This is a single PC stream, but it's a single PC stream being run by a 5950 with 16 cores and a 3080. So one would hope You're going to get the best of both worlds out of it. Back to it we go. Ooh, nifty stinger transition. Alright. Man, how sick is this music? And I'm washed out again by the game. I'm struggling to get into Dirt Rally 2. There's a really good solution for that. Buy BeamNG and find out that it's the better rally simulator and don't play Dirt Rally 2 anymore. Oh, Codemasters must love me. But in all seriousness, after driving in BeamNG, I really struggled to go back to Dirt Rally. It's so simcade. It's so sim. And if you watch like the top people drive, the way the car moves, you're like, nah, these ain't the droids you're looking for. If you're okay with that simcade thing, you know, more power to you, but I can't. After BeamNG, I can't. BeamNG is so good. It's so good. It's going to become my main sim very shortly. I can't believe how good it is and what they're doing to it. Like it's, you know, whenever it comes to talking about sims, often I think of it as a balance, like double-edged sword. Like I like these things they're working on, but I don't like these kind of things and da-da-da. When I think of BeamNG, all I can think of is that the sky is the limit and see the infinite potential of sim racing, and I get so damn excited. Because there's no real politics there, it's just a crash sim that they actually turned into a proper simulator. Nobody expected that. They just expected to crash cars and it to look kind of fun. And now it's an actual sim. How weird is that? And there's no expectation, there's no they're not trying to run esports tournaments, they're not trying to tell you that they're the most realistic sim on the planet, they're just kind of like, the proof is in the pudding, you know? They're kind of like the opposite of iRacing in that sense. We're constantly trying to prove why they're the best and why you should be paying hundreds of dollars a year in order to play it. It's a pretty hard case to make. But yeah, buy BeamNG. Tell them I sent you. I want free Beam. No, there's no free BeamNG stuff. I can't even get a sponsorship. I've got to say though, guys, having everything unified on the one stream screen on my side monitor here is so good. So much easier to chat with you guys. So much easier to see what's going on. Come on, no, don't fly out, don't fly out. Come on, pretend you have some skill. Alright, Magilla, what is the donation amount for when I finally complete this game on the hardest difficulty mode in this final, you know, championship? I've finally completed all of Art of Rally, or I'm about to anyway. The optimism just shines. Alright, I managed to steal a glance to the side without crashing. Sick. I've seen a few of Jimmer's videos on Richard Burns Rally. Yeah, the mods that people have released are amazing. It's the same thing with BeamNG. It's the mods that keep it rolling. They have one mod called Beam MP, which gives you multiplayer, which has allowed for this whole new subgenre of BeamNG content called the car hunts. You basically get one guy in a superpowered car, you get like 8 others trying to chase him, and it's in an entire city. It's some of the most exciting sim racing content there is. I just watch them all completely enthralled. Yeah, I don't know. It's shaking my faith. I don't really know if I'm like a hardcore sim racer guy who'll watch dudes being sweaty over like 1/10 for 2 hours versus guys that are just playing tag in a city with cars. The latter just seems way more fun to me. BeamNG force feedback, you get back what you put in. For me, it's actually very good, but that's with the DD1, and I kind of know how to dial it in reasonably well. So you kind of have to know what you're doing. There's a big document that the developers have released instructing you on how to best dial it in for your particular wheelbase. So look into it. It doesn't have to be bad. I can tell you that. It does not have to be bad. BeamNG so the feeling of weight transfer in BeamNG through the wheel is the best out of any sim on the market. It's better than AC, it's better than R-Factor 2, but that's when you dial it in. It's because it isn't just the tire that's a physical model, it's the whole damn car. The whole car flexes. emergently. It isn't like, hey, here's like flex code that we're adding to our object that we render as a car. It's like, no, that object is created out of beams that all have physical properties and they all flex and contort and bend and break. So that sensation of the car contorting and the suspension bending and the tires flexing, it's... Man. I used to play it for hours at my friend's place, and then I drive home and I try to replicate what I did in BeamNG by like skidding the car and drifting down the road, and not on public roads, of course. I would never do that in the dead of night by myself in my WRX. But it was so close to real life that's when I realized that rFactor 2 and BeamNG were my two favorite sims. And at this point in time, BeamNG is just like so good, guys. So good. See you, Todd. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome back, Richie. I just totally forgot to start this rally. Alright, here we go. I'm a bit off center for some reason. I'm a little out of my element here. Here we go. Alright. Drop it back. I'd love to create a drifting simulator out of the BeamNG engine. I think that's where it's at. That's where the money is at, you know? Just like, what was that game called? CarX Drift or whatever? You know, the one that I reviewed a few months ago? The mobile game that went PC? It's such a pleb magnet because people love drifting. Right? It's a whole different, you know, criteria of people. And if you put that into the BeamNG engine, they could feel weight transfer even through their G29s. That'd be something else. You know, BeamNG is amazing to drive even with a controller. Can you tell I have a bit of a love affair with BeamNG? Can you tell I should be a spokesperson for them? It's, you know, all of my BeamNG videos are the biggest videos on this channel. And based on that, based on knowing that, and based on hearing what I said about it tonight, what do you think my content is going to be centered around in the coming months? Highest proportion of positive feedback as well from their community. You don't tend to get the whole neckbeard tribalism thing that you do with hardcore sim racing. Like, how dare you imply that my favorite sim doesn't have a perfect time model? BeamNG is like, man, this guy's drifting and crashing and it looks really fun. That's sick. Let's like thumbs this up. Like, that's as far as their thinking process goes, and I love that. They're just there to have fun. As am I. I'm glad you agree, guys. I look forward to being a hopefully adequate BeamNG spokesperson. But if you haven't seen the first video, I believe it's called The Most Realistic Driving Sim You've Never Played, which is like the best clickbait ever. I still get people commenting saying, what do you mean? I've got like 3,000 hours in it. How dare you say I've not played BeamNG? And that's been like the kind of comment that's kept that video afloat over the last 8 months. Really cool. So yeah, that video has almost 500,000 views now, which is the biggest performing video on the channel, and then all the other BeamNG ones are all up near the 100k mark, which for like a niche channel like mine is mind-blowing, because all my regular sim racing content is like, you know, 10k if I'm lucky, and then up to like 50k if I'm doing really well, or like giving a lot of information that people, you know, want over time. So it's just a bigger niche, and people that just want to have a lot more fun. Yeah, Richie, I agree. The BeamNG community is very stress-free for me. Even when they're trying to be mean to you, it's so not mean compared to the sim racing community. It's so tame comparatively. This is like, how dare you imply that I've not played my favorite sim as much as you have? Meanwhile, I'm here being called a national socialist by not agreeing about certain time model things. It's one of the reasons I like doing titles like Art of Rally as well. It's way more carefree. Plan was actually to do Gran Turismo 7 this year too, but unfortunately that got delayed. Which I suppose is a good thing, given how much they're struggling to roll out the PS5 and, you know, how many hardware woes we've had as a planet lately. Hopefully by 2022 things start to resemble normality a little bit more. I'm well overdue to go back to Europe, so I'm due back on the Nordschleife, that's for sure. Renee's got an R35 he needs to loan me. So if you haven't checked out Art of Rally, I'd say it's worth it just for the soundtrack even. Like, it's so just brain off and chill, you know? I have noticed that some people do struggle to actually drive it though. I have many years of driving Dirt Rally with a control pad under my experience, so I'm somewhat adequate at it. But I know that a lot of people struggle with the weight balancing thing using the triggers. It can be quite hard to get the gradation right. Hey! We're first again. Nice. Also, the leaderboards are pretty easy to get high on because, you know, not that many people play it. That's kind of cool. Sandro, I don't know if it's playable with a wheel. I certainly wouldn't try it, but you can. Affair with Beam and G while engaged to R Factor 2. I'd like to think that I've had a polygamous relationship with both of them for the last 4 years. Oh, Ben, you've been doing the police chases in Beam MP. That's so good. I need to find out, like, how to set that kind of stuff up. If you guys have any resources for that, do let me know. Motorsport games should most definitely not buy Beam and G. We don't need a monopoly that owns everything. That's like the worst possible outcome. The real Subi has been a little bit neglected, Jack. I haven't had it serviced for the longest time in between services. I also have not given it a wash in a little while. The COVID thing really flipped everything on its head. Like, I barely leave the home unless I'm going out for groceries or going out to the gym. I have very little reason to leave my home. I do all my work, my content creation here, and I don't really like being in Australia, so I don't like going outside. I don't like being reminded that I'm here. So I'll go back out when I'm allowed to go back to Europe. And then I'll go and say hey to the sunshine and, you know, touch base back in Helsinki and then work my way down from there as I always do. I've never played Live for Speed, Diogo, but I hear good things. I saw their tire flex and like the, what was it, the tire coming off the rim under high load. That was amazing to see. I'm good, nice Aussie, how are you? So, Carmighty actually commented on the last Beam and G video I did on the channel. That's how I became aware of what he does and the whole car hunts and stuff. Very cool. Very, very cool. There's nothing particularly wrong with being in Australia. I just don't like it personally. It's not something I want to dote on too much. I don't like to kind of dote on negativity in my streams and stuff. That's, yeah, just something I never got on with personally. Yes, we have a Discord. There's a Discord in the description below, so you take the link if you like. There's also links for all kinds of things, like all the gear that I use on a normal day, like the next level racing rig behind me with the FANATEC and whatnot. I don't know if you guys can see that. Man, the soundtrack's so good. Ooh, close. Oh man, it was so close. I was trying to shave it, but now it's all over. Managed to give that hay bale a run for its money though. It's a bit of a tricky course in a way, this one. So I'm getting frame drops in the game, which never helps. Ah, no. It's what I get for stealing glances over to the left. No, stop stealing glances. I don't want to... Nope, nope. Okay, that was a good idea. It's a good thing that I slowed down there. Just taking it easy. I don't need another crash before the end. Oh, seriously? So there's that strange penduluming stuff. It's sometimes hard to get the weight transfer down in this title. Especially when the car gets weightless over a hill. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Yeah, Australia is very expensive to live in. Yeah, I don't know what else to say there, really. I just paid our loving government an astronomical amount of money, several times more than I've ever paid for anything in my life, which kind of broke my heart ever so slightly. We're currently at that break point where we're subject to the predation of certain institutions here that are trying to mooch off the labor of myself and everybody in my company, which is very, very frustrating to say the least, because I've not been able to spend as much time on the act of creation, and I've spent a lot more of my time immersed in books about accounting and tax law, which has been a very frustrating end to my year, last year anyway. So that just kind of, you know, is what it is. No free gains, as they say. When you do well in life, the very first thing that you find out is how many people want a slice of that. But that being said, speaking of Helsinki, where I normally touch base in Europe, that place is immensely expensive too. They're as expensive as Melbourne, if not slightly more. So it's all a matter of degrees. Like Scandinavian nations are some of the richest nations on earth because of all the oil money. So Norway especially, my friends in Norway pay almost 50% taxes, which is crazy. And everything's very expensive there. You know, I don't want this to become overly political like a Game of Muscle stream or something like that. That's not really what I'm here for. I'm here to get away from those kind of aspects of life. It's like the last thing I want to think about on streams, but if I started a channel on that sort of thing, there'd be no end of talking that I could do about those matters. Being a director of a company as well as being self-employed for almost 20 years in various capacities, both as a content creator, a tradesman, now essentially a software developer or a director of a software developer company. I've seen it from many different perspectives, and there's a lot of things that are awry, let's say. Ben, I'm really glad to hear that, man. If you haven't gone already, I hope to see you in future streams. Katasushio, I think. So it depends what kind of games you like. If you really like chill arcade games that are brain off and just really cool music, Art of Rally is amazing for that. Daniel, g'day back from Australia. Runner, you guys are actually arms dealers. So Sweden provides arms to much of the world. I think that's where a lot of the money comes from what I've seen these days. Which is kind of strange, you know, to think of such a socialized and friendly culture like Sweden providing arms to much of the world. It's the way things go, right? You also have many of the same, let's call them humanities issues that we have here in Melbourne, that they have in Canada, that they're also starting to get over in the US. Yeah, there are many kangaroos in Australia. Fortunately, they mostly leave us alone here in the suburbs and in the cities. But out in the country, there are tons. And I think it would probably break your heart, but they probably constitute the bulk of the roadkill here. They tend to just kind of hop out onto highways when you're going like 160. Well, not 160 here. I think the top speed is like 110 usually. So, would you believe that our top speeds here in Australia are like 110 kph? And on most highways, it's 100, like absolute tops. There's no such thing as an autobahn in one of the largest landmass, one of the largest landmasses in the world. How weird is that? Say, there can be some things inferred there about how we view social responsibility and individual agency. It was certainly hard to adjust to coming back from the Autobahn in Italy and Germany, where I drove about 200 in an Audi S4. Oh, sorry, Audi A4. I think it was an A4. A3? Whatever, it sucked. It was a bad Audi. It like had oil issues halfway into Italy. And yeah, I did 200 in that car and I come back to Australia, they're like, nah, your cap is half that speed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in a way better car. You know, WRX. It's actually got the stiff coilovers and the some downforce. I'm like, cool. So it's way safer for me to drive quicker here, but I can't. I wonder what that's all about. Come on, no, what? I don't buy that game. I don't buy that one bit. All right, we're starting again. Bad idea trying to read the stream while doing this. Art of Rally is very intensive. Longest stretch of unbroken concentration on the stream so far? Perhaps. Perhaps it is. Will he jinx himself? Yes, he probably will. Was that too fast? Almost. Ooh, yeah. That's the way the aliens would do it. Except faster. A lot faster. Not that again. That is a really dickish jump there. Kind of makes you land in this really bad divot off-road. Whoop. Come on, WRX. See me through, baby. We've had such a long history together. Yeah, R-Factor 2, you know, being part of those competitive races broke my heart because first of all, I saw the way that people were tuning the cars. And then after that, I saw the way that people were driving the cars for pace. And I couldn't believe it. We were doing a 24-hour endurance and the guy who was coaching me, really great guy, really good driver as well, and real life as well, Sim, was just like, keep pushing, push, on the throttle. I was literally just burning up the tires on every corner. I'm like, there's no way you would ever drive an endurance race like this. I'm learning incorrect techniques for endurance driving. That defeats the whole point of what R-Factor is. R-Factor is meant to be the most realistic consumer-grade simulation of automotive racing. And with the issues of the tire model right now, it just isn't. That's a huge problem. It's a huge, massive problem. Way bigger than the UI or the sounds or anything else. Like, fundamentally at its core, if it's not living up to what it's trying to be, it's a failure as a product. And I don't want to see it be that. I want to see R-Factor be the best. Ultimately, all it really had was its physics. That's the only thing it really ever excelled at. So it's got to get that back and build from there. And I look forward to that happening. I love the driving feel in that game more than any other. And I want reasons to go back and drive it again. I don't want that heart-sinking feeling of watching the aliens drift. I mean, if you haven't seen my R-Factor 2 is broken video, you can see me driving like the guys do at the end. I finally got it, like it finally made sense to me. The one thing I didn't do on that video, I didn't set it to the Le Mans aero package, so I'm losing about a second maybe per lap from the extra aero that you get from the standard package. But if I did drop it from there, the times I was getting would be competitive at those levels based on what the guys from the team were telling me. So, you know, it's not like I was saying this stuff just to be a dick to R-Factor, because I do love that title, but it's simply just revelatory of a fundamental issue of the driving model at this point in time. And the fact that it finally clicked with me, that it made sense that I could drive that way, made me realize I didn't want to keep driving that way. And that's when I made the switch to ACC as my main sim, because I don't want to learn incorrect techniques. I don't want to internalize incorrect driving. Troll Turismo, yeah, I spent 2 days living next to the Nürburgring and all you were woken up by the sound of GT3 RSs at Adenauer Forst. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I've got to say though, you know, being around there for a few days, living around the Nürburgring is probably not something I would personally do. It's very remote. You can have issues with like internet connectivity, supply issues, like the supermarkets really didn't have what I'm used to having access to here, which is kind of ironic given that I'm right at the end of the world. But we do have some really good farmland here in Australia, so we can get some really good grass-fed meat, you get some really good quality free-range eggs and stuff like that. You can get really high-quality produce down here, and that's something I really struggled with in Germany, especially being that far out. So as much as I love the Nürburgring, I think I would probably look to relocate somewhere in northern Italy for me personally, or somewhere like that. Yeah, somewhere within driving distance of the Nürburgring. It is true, Australia is upside down, so I have to actually rotate my stream. I've got to like invert it so that you guys see me correctly. It's very difficult. They're the little things you have to think about. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a good run at school tomorrow. Yeah, we need to basically nail our houses down. It's quite tricky. We have a sort of suspension process. Yeah. Also, your blood pools in your head all the time, so you gotta like do handstands, which are actually leg stands here. Alright. Let's do this. I think this might be the last race. We can complete Art of Rally, see what happens right at the end. Hey Bog, if you're still in the stream, can you ask Luke when he wants to watch Drive to Survive? Otherwise I'm going to end up streaming all night. I enjoy these too much. It's just way too cool to just hang. I love how they pick the most scenic times of day in Art of Rally. Okay, surface change. I'm going for another longest unbroken stretch of concentration to... Oh, really? Wow, that is like a sprint stage and a half. It's super short. Really? Wow. See, like that's how much the difficulty differs from stage to stage. Some are nearly impossible and others you can kind of do blindfolded in your sleep. Harry, yeah, he may take some issue with that. I'm happy with gamer muscle remaining gamer muscle. I think there's a bloke called Carl Gosling coming through as well now who can be another gamer muscle. Yeah, Ben, you should definitely try this game out. It's super fun, even just for the music. And just the progression structure as well, unlocking all these kooky cars. I think we've done it, guys. I think that was the final championship. Let's see what we get. Is that the end of the game? Okay. Fun Selector's van. 400 brake horsepower, turbocharged, 5-speed, rear-wheel drive. After the release of his game Absolute Drift, June got the tools out and built up a cargo van into a camper company headquarters, complete with bed, fridge, and desk. It traveled around Canada, America, and Mexico. Much of Art of Rally was made in it. If you see the van in the wild, feel free to knock on the door, you may get a cookie. Good for you, man. If that's actually true, that's awesome. I've known a few guys that kind of went like full drifter life like that. Seems to be a good way to... Wow, the Celica. Hell yeah. So I think this is the very end of Art of Rally, guys. Maybe? Yeah, game over. Achievement unlocked, anti-lag. There you go. That's all you get for finishing Art of Rally, guys. Oh wait, do I get a video sequence? Impress me. I have to press something? Alright, hello again, my child. The last time we saw each other, you drove into trees instead of around them. I never did such things. This may have been a long and challenging journey, but nothing worth doing is ever easy. With my little Buddha hands, I grant you the title, Master of Rally. I'll take it. Very honest. Very true to what I am. This may seem like the end, but perhaps it's only the beginning. Perhaps one day you will master the perfect lap. Lap, though? Would you call it a lap? I guess if you said stage, it wouldn't really make sense. Alright, good stuff, June, and everybody else that worked on this game. Very, very cool. I like hearing that it was made on the fly as you drove through the continent in your van. That's great. Original soundtrack and sound effects, Slava Koristov? One of my peeps, kinda. From the Eastern Bloc. Alright guys, that's the end of Art of Rally. We've basically... yeah, that's that. If you guys enjoyed the stream, I hope I see you on future ones. If you're not a subscriber already, please consider subscribing. It does help propagate our content out further and wider, and more people can see it and join us in future ones. Consider perhaps joining as a member. And yeah, until the very next one, I'll see you guys later. And I hope it's just as chill and just as fun as this one is. Very good to see you all.